Hello, it is June 26th. Oh my goodness, it is June 26th. And I am planning to start today The Last Watchman of Cairo by Michael David Lucas. And the reason that name is important, besides that he's the author, is that it's a three name. So I read all the books I was supposed to read this month and that I currently have access to. And then I was like, oh no, there's no more books that I'm supposed to read, so I'll choose a book for myself. And then I DNF'd that book. So I decided that I can't choose books for myself anymore. And I went to one of my Goodreads groups, and there's this challenge where there are a lot of tasks, but you only need to choose one and read it in the month. So one of those tasks was that the author had three names. So Michael David Lucas, who wrote, or uses three names. Michael David Lucas, who wrote The Last Watchman of Old Cairo. Old Cairo or just of Cairo? Of Old Cairo, uses three names. So this book is, oh my god, it is literary fiction. It is about this guy in more the modern day, though I'm not sure exactly how modern, because I'm not sure exactly when it was written. I think it was written in the 2010s. So this guy, he has been estranged from his father most of his life, and he's been brought up by his mother. I believe that they're both Egyptian. His mom is Jewish, his father is Muslim, and then his father sends him a letter. And the book basically explores the history of Cairo and the Jewish community in Cairo, I believe, through three different people. I suppose they're all in this one family, but they might not be. They might just all be connected. So the reason I'm interested in this book is that the Jewish history in Cairo is very interesting. And one of the reasons it's so interesting is because we know a lot about it. So Jews have this concept called the Geniza, where if anything is written with God's name, you put it in there and it just rots slowly. Now, what happened in Cairo is, as we know, Egypt is a very dry climate, and it's not as good at letting stuff rot. And so what happened in Cairo is that the Geniza didn't rot. And while there are the usual things there that you would expect, a lot of Jews tend to write at the top of pages, with God's help, blessed is God. Technically, if this is in an abbreviation, so you can throw it out in the regular garbage, but a lot of people still do put it in the Geniza, and that's what happened in Cairo. So you get a lot of letters, merchant lists, even children's papers from school. They're all there in the Geniza, and because the climate is so dry and then it rot, and because the climate is so dry and then it rot, we're able to know a lot about the Jewish community throughout history, besides the fact that the Maimonides lived there for quite a long time. And so, since we know a lot about it, it's kind of more interesting because there are more things to know. Also, I also have some family who's from there, so that also makes it more interesting to me. Good afternoon. It is still the same day, June 26th, and I am now 67 pages into The Last Watchman of Old Cairo, and I don't remember what I said this morning about what this book is about, but I think I got it totally wrong. So, for the most part. So, we're following three different characters in three different timelines. Well, four different characters in three different timelines, sorry. So, our earliest timeline is 1025, and the Ben Ezra synagogue was just being built, which is the synagogue that the Cairo Geniza is in. And our main character that we're following is a young Muslim boy, Ali, who has just been hired to be the watchman for the synagogue. Then the next timeline happens in 1897, and we are following two Christian woman twins who really did exist. And basically, they and their acquaintance, Dr. Schechter, who is Jewish and also really did exist. So we're just following the real events of like the discovery of the Cairo Gniza. And in the third timeline, that happens, I'm guessing 2018, because that's when the book was published, so 2017, 2018. We are following Joshua, whose parents are both Egyptian, whose mother is Jewish, and her family essentially, I don't know if they know this, but we know that her family comes down from like this very known family, and obviously her family was, how do you call it, exiled in the 1950s, like all the other Egyptian Jews, and his father was Muslim, and he came from the family of Ali. So like for centuries until the Jews were exiled from Egypt, his family had been the watchmen for the synagogue. So, and his father dies, and he sends him this mysterious old piece of paper. One side it's written in Arabic letters, but it doesn't seem to be Arabic because his cousin can't read it. And the other side is written in Hebrew, which neither he nor anyone he knows can read. And he goes to Egypt to try to track it down. And obviously, we already know by the time that he gets it what this piece of paper is. So, but I guess it's kind of a family history. There is also this part where, so far, I am enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it. I am finding the parts about the twins a little boring right now, because that actually, like, I feel like the book is supposed to be a family history, and the twin sisters, well, I understand why they're part of the story and why they're important to the story, and I do think that the story could have been without them, and obviously you can't change the story so it includes this fictional family, because that's the real history. It is kind of like taking me out of the story, because we've essentially got two stories in here, but we'll see how it goes. Sometimes I end up really liking books that have two stories. So that's Joshua's story. For some reason, he's called in Arabic Yusuf, which is, in Hebrew that would be Yosef, so in English that would be Joseph. And Joshua obviously comes from Yehoshua, which has a totally different root. Yosef is from Yud Samech Fei, to add, and Yehoshua is from Yud Shin Ayin, to save. So maybe there isn't a name in Arabic for Yehoshua, but that doesn't sound real, because obviously they do use the Tanakh, and Yehoshua appeared in the Tanakh and he appeared in the Torah. So I don't know. Anyways, that aside, so I like Joshua's story, and I like Ali's story with hesitance, because so far I've been enjoying it, but then he falls in lust more like. Anyways, he falls in lust with the daughter of the guy who hired him. Now, the thing is, it really feels like a lot. I'm really scared that a lot of the story is going to be based on this. Like, there are hints. Like, from where it is right now, it could go that way, or it could go other ways, where his falling in lust. So, like, there is an option that it could be his falling in lust is what drives the story forward, and I would really hate that, because... But on the other hand, like, I'm talking about, like, inevitable, fated. Oh my God, he fell in love. He's lusting after her, so they really are in love. He's never spoken to her. He just saw her, and he saw her twice. Or the option that I would like better, and could happen right now, where the story is that the actions he takes or he's fallen in lust lead to things happening. But it's not because of this, oh my God, they're in love, but rather because of, like, people do actions because of their feelings, and that leads to things happening in the real world, because, actions have consequences. And by consequences, I don't mean, like, only bad stuff. It could be good, bad, neutral, just actions, and even non-action, the world is an active place. So yeah, I am enjoying it so far, and I hope to continue. Hello, it is June 27th, and I am now 96 pages into the book, Last Watchman of Old Cairo. So I haven't continued in this past 30 pages. I have not continued in the story of Joshua, but I have continued in the stories of Ali and the two ladies, like the real finding of the Cairo Geniza. So I don't really have any more thoughts or feelings on the story of the real finding of the Cairo Geniza as it's written in the book, but I'm really pleased to say that where the story of Ali is going, I'm really enjoying. So as I said, there were basically two options for where it could go. It could go and it's going in the option that I much prefer, where he makes choices because he's fallen in lust with this girl, and these happen to be bad choices, and there are very real consequences, and that is definitely going to take the plot forward somewhere. So I'm really glad that that's what's happening. I'll also say that there is in this book there is some magical realism and also some like Kabbalah based stuff. So they're not right now, like I didn't say it at the beginning, even though there was some from in the first 66 pages I read, but it wasn't a major part, but now it is growing to be a bigger and bigger part. So I didn't expect that at all, but I am enjoying it. I'm finding it very interesting. Hello, it is the late afternoon of June 30th, and I finished The Last Watchman of Old Cairo this morning. I said I was going to finish it yesterday, and while I could have, I didn't want to, because it was making me really sad. Now, it in itself is not a sad book, but it's definitely concentrated. It focuses on Jewish diaspora and how the diaspora has continued for thousands of years. So there are parts that, as a Jew, make me feel very sad. But I really like this book. Was it perfect? No, but I thought it was really, really good. I don't know why people saw like a lot of more negative reviews for it on Goodreads. Not like 2 stars, but like 3.5 stars. And I disagree. I thought it was really well done. I didn't think things were wrapped up too quickly or whatever. I thought it was very well done, and I thought it was a really nice story of tying all of these things together, of the real story of the Cairo Geniza, but also the story of this fictional family. So anyways, that's the video. I read The Last Watchman of Old Cairo by Michael David Lucas, and I really liked it, and I do recommend it.